So you might want to know why doing push-ups and pull-ups, or even doing routines such as nickels and dimes, are ever so important in your workout routine to execute even weekly. I'm going to show you guys exactly why and give you the reasons and benefits towards doing both these exercises in order to build that ripped upper body that you may desire, or even just to have that strength capability that you may only not want, but you might need. Let's get straight into it. So for those that don't know, I'm going to start by defining what a compound exercise means, or compound movement. This simply just means that you're working more than one muscle group at once. So when you're doing push-ups, you're not only going to be working, I won't even say specifically the muscles in your arms. I'm just going to say your arms and your chest. That's two pieces of your body alone that you're going to be working simply just by doing push-ups. When you do pull-ups, it's the same thing, except it won't be your chest, it's going to be your back and your arms, right? That's two types of muscle groups already, just completely separated, that you're going to be activating in order to execute these types of exercises. And it's ever so important because when you really think about it, you're getting 2 times the work in while you're doing one type of exercise. Think of that for a second. And when you think about it, doing compound exercises are really good for when you're in time crunches too. If you're one that struggles for time to get your workouts in, consider these exercises for sure, because these will allow you to work multiple muscle groups in a shorter amount of time. And you certainly will burn out while you're doing these exercises. And if they get too easy for you, add some weight. And if these exercises get a bit too easy for you, add a weight vest or some type of weight, so that way you can make it a bit harder for yourself. If you want to add more muscle, that will certainly be another way in order for you to keep with that hypertrophy. But yeah, everyone, has their own methods and everyone has their own reasons. So starting primarily with push-ups right now, they not only increase the upper body strength for typically, the front side of your body, but your chest, your core. You see what I'm saying? These are very important parts of your body towards stabilization, but also push strength. Both exercises for push-ups and pull-ups will engage your arms, and they will, get the bigger in size and develop that strength. But the push strength is what you get from the push-ups. And this is why they're ever so important, because that's pretty well explosive strength. And that's typically what you might need in order to push something off of you, push someone off of you, whatever it is. These could be life-changing situations where you could be the one in control when needed, not by force, not to say you're the one that's going to be taking on the situation, but if you're put in this situation, I'm just saying you got it, right? And this could be ever so important, so never count that out. If you do these exercises consistently and you shorten the time that you rest in between, or you do higher amounts of reps, this is going to be very good, because honestly, you're going to improve your cardiovascular health, which will allow you to have better endurance, and then even just your blood in general will be in better shape because of the cardio that you're enduring. Literally, it's got so much benefits to it, because this is long-term thinking. This isn't some short-term thing where you might just look good today and by next year you may look, a bit different. Now, we want to keep this up, be consistent on these exercises, so that way we can guarantee that our health in the future is going to be put in check, and we always want it that way in order for us to have that longevity that we desire. One thing to note too when it comes to push-ups, your posture. It is totally possible that if you guys have very good push-up form, it will help out with your posture. When you guys are doing your push-ups and you have that flat plane, this will actually promote a better posture for your spine, because as you're in a flat plane for the push-up, that's going to transfer over to when you stand up now and you're just in your regular posture, your body, position. You're going to start to realize over time that you're going to be straightening out, because if you want to execute the perfect push-up every time, that's going to become just the way that you kind of straighten out in life. You see what I'm saying? And it's just simply from getting down, you're doing the push-ups, and then when you stand up, you're going to feel a lot more straight, and even your chest is now going to come out a bit more. It's going to feel even pumped if you got a good workout in, but that will promote your neck to be, your chin to come a bit up, and your neck to be a bit more straight. Even back a bit if you have a slouch. It's going to be something that you realize naturally. It won't come immediately. I won't guarantee that. But over time, if you do it and do it and do it, you will certainly see some benefits from doing the push-ups the correct way. And that's something that you really will love. Posture certainly is something that people realize when you make a first impression. So it's certainly something that you want to keep in that mental Rolodex and fix if you can. When you're doing your push-ups and you're in that flat plane, you don't want to see any bends, by your butt or your lower back. You want to keep it completely straight, and your neck, you can look forward or you can look down. Either way, Depending, if you really want to see maybe even quicker results for fixing your posture, looking forward may help a bit, because think of it this way: if you're doing the push-up and you're looking forward, you're actually kind of doing this to look forward. And what you're doing by doing that, you're actually putting your neck in a different position than it's normally used to. When you're on your phone or looking down at anything, you're typically like this. But when you're doing the push-up, think about it, you're like this in order to look straight. That's a benefit. You can look down, certainly, but you want to keep your head up. And this is how it's really going to promote your posture, because when you do the push-up, if you have a slouch, you're not going to want your face to go into the floor. Obviously, you don't want to touch the floor at all, especially because your lips are going to be one of the first things to touch, maybe even your nose, depending. But regardless, that's not something we want. So naturally, we're going to keep our head up and avoid it from touching the ground. This is what creates the benefit of posture when you're doing push-ups, because this is something that's ever so natural that we try to avoid. But when we stand up, time and time over again, it's going to slowly help and correct with our posture the more push-ups that you do. So certainly consider that, because that's something that you don't really realize. So all in all, with push-ups, one thing I want you guys to really understand is how much of a survival maneuver it can actually be, depending on which situation you're in, or simply just working out. It'll help you out with other machines that you may want to use if bodybuilding is what you're more into as opposed to calisthenics. But for overall capability, you cannot go wrong. Okay, so now we're transitioning over to pull-ups. Hadouken! One of the things people don't really realize when it comes to back injury, we do have a chance to actually strengthen our back a good amount in order to avoid or put off these kind of injuries from happening, right? Sometimes based off what you're doing, it's inevitable, because when you're lifting too many things on a consistent basis that are straining your back, no matter how you lift, overall, it's going to take a toll on your body. Doesn't matter exactly where it is specifically. A lot of the times, if your whole body is needed to pick up that weight, your back is going to feel it. There's ways of relieving your back from that, of course, but overall, there's not too much we could do in the long term when it comes to saving our back, aside from strengthening it, of course. So just like push-ups, pull-ups are a compound movement. You're going to be working multiple muscle groups in order to execute this exercise. So you're going to be working your arms, of course. You're going to be working your shoulders. Your back is going to be engaged. Your core is going to be engaged. And you know how your core is going to be engaged? When you're doing the pull-ups, your legs, you can't really see. That way, your legs aren't going to be swinging. That's one thing that you want to assure, so that way you don't cut the work that you're doing. If your legs are swinging, you might be building momentum and making the pull-ups easier. You don't want that. As it may feel easier, of course, and I know in life we like things easy, you want to make this a bit harder for yourself, because that's how you're going to develop more strength way quicker, and also you're going to look better a lot faster too. So don't build that momentum. Try to keep the body as stiff as possible when you're doing these pull-ups. You can engage your core, even get a little squeeze depending on how hard you want to get that workout in. But certainly make sure to execute that with authority. Come up, you want to make sure you kind of lock like that. You can even go a bit further depending on which type of pull-up that you're doing, if you want to do chest to bar or if you just want to get your chin over. So you got the pull-up form like normal like this. You also got the chin up form. You can go closer or further away, whichever way. You just want to assure, no matter what you're doing, that your chin passes the bar. That's ever so important to executing these perfectly. Another benefit when it comes to doing pull-ups, your grip strength. People kind of overlook this kind of stuff. They don't realize how important your grip strength can really be. Later on in life, some things happen to us, such as arthritis. We want to make sure we put that aside, you know. Some things are inevitable, I get it. But if you make yourself stronger, you're harder to defeat, you know what I'm saying, to these kind of things that can come on to you. Or you might just be able to enjoy the quality of life for the time being up until then. Now, for a lot of your workouts, grip strength is very important in order to lift that weight or to grab whatever you got to grab onto in order to execute the exercise. So pull-ups is one of those things. Your grip strength is very important, and grip will also kind of trickle down to your forearms, which is pretty important too. You want to have your forearms growing as much as your arms are growing, or I mean your biceps and your triceps, everything else in your arms. So in order to get that on an equal playing field, just make sure you get your pull-ups in as well as your push-ups, so that way you get that even base of build. So now, naming the benefits of both of these combined, not only will it improve obviously your physical health, and it can help you shred down, it can help you bulk up, depending on which type of exercise that you're doing. If you're in a caloric surplus, you can build the muscle. If you're in a caloric deficit, you could lean out, whichever one that you want to do, but both of these exercises will promote the growth or even leaning out as you desire. Regardless, they'll both have you crafted in a great shape, broad shoulders, you know, big chest. Your back will look pretty defined as long as you do these exercises, of course, correctly. So getting past all the physical stuff that these, you know, have kind of benefits for, let's get into the mental side of things. When you're putting yourself through these exercises, you got to understand something. You're putting yourself through a bit of trauma, physically, but also depending mentally, because you might want to quit. You may have that desire to just sit down, lay down, watch some TV instead, not go to the gym, whatever the case is. You got to understand the importance of the task at hand. There are many benefits of this for the today. There are many benefits for this in the future. And there are many benefits of this that you may have already passed in life that you wish you could have had these benefits, you know, in order to execute. Or maybe you had it because you are doing these exercises and you thanked yourself. Well, this is one thing I want you to understand. Definitely keep up those habits. If this is what you're doing, you're keeping up with your pull-ups and your push-ups. If not, certainly get on it. Truthfully, you're going to build your mind to become something ever so strong that can't be broken when you put yourself through these trials and tribulations to get through these reps and all these sets. And it's so important to building that body and that mind that you want, because the mental will transfer into other things that you do in life, not only working out. That's where a lot of people get these things messed up. What you put yourself through when you work out will trickle over to real life situations outside of the gym that you will thank yourself for when you're in the gym putting in that work later. So certainly think of it that way. Like I say, as always, keep within that mental Rolodex, make that deposit in the bank. And lastly, I don't want to hear any excuses when it comes to doing push-ups. You can do push-ups anywhere unless you live in the ocean. If you live in the ocean, I totally understand why you can't do push-ups. But if you don't live in the ocean, you can do push-ups pretty well anywhere. So certainly you can get those in. Pull-ups may be a bit harder because you may have to find a bar, some type of ledge, whatever it is. But still, you can get those in at a pretty decent rate, because even parks, you'll have those little bars that people can do, you know, the monkey bars from. Take one of those and do your pull-ups at the park. You know what I'm saying? But don't make excuses for yourself. Try to make ways for yourself to execute these exercises. That's the way you want to think in 2023 in order to really execute and grow. So if y'all excuse me, I don't have to get my pull-ups in here today, but I got to get my push-ups in. I'll be doing 100 push-ups every day, and I've been doing this for almost half a year, or just about half a year's time. I'm trying to do it for a full year, and I'm going to upload the video for y'all to see. So certainly check out my videos from the past on my workouts and anything else informational wise. I try to drop it down, give you guys all the knowledge I personally can. But y'all know what time it is. The clock is ticking. Prove them later.